Good evening. Sorry, I'm late. Where are we? Web dev. Yep. All right. Dog walked, dinner cooked, work finished. Let's do some React. Something's not right there. All right. Where did I leave this last time? I took Thursday off after getting the COVID vaccine, and let's try and remember what I did on Tuesday. I think I actually finished the previous exercise where we used Memo for expensive calculations. I think the only change was, wrapping this, and I used Memo. Cool. So let's open up exercise 3. I imagine there's a video to watch for this. There is. Nice. So let me just bug that on. All right. This is 5 minutes long. I've just got here, but I'm going to be off mic for the next 4 minutes or so. All right, cool. That was a lot of video for not a lot of code. There's going to be a lot of playing around in the dev tools, so see how we get on. There are basically 2 changes I need to make on this, and is this exercise 3? Yeah, cool. So what we're doing is memoizing 2 components and then evaluating them in the React profiler in the dev tools. Give me 1 second. That's better. So we're looking for unnecessary re-renders here. Okay, so let's start profiling. Let's put a letter in. Never actually spent that much time in here, so let's see. Is that the number of re-renders? Let's give it a bit more space. What was that? Record why each component rendered while profiling. All right, let's try that again. That is very cool. Props changed, the parent component re-rendered. That's very nice. Okay, let's just give ourselves a bit of room to work with. Okay, tune. Okay, what's the best way to measure this? 0.3. Items changed. So all of these re-rendered. Parent component re-rendered, which re-rendered all of this. What are we memoizing? Memoizing each list item, which would make sense. Ah, nice. Let's just show in the actual box. Okay, so let's memoize. Let's look at React memo. Is it as simple as just wrapping it? Okay, so we have a function here. So this is the list item. Let's do it one at a time. List item is not defined. Do I memoize the function or the return value? Const export default React memo. I'm just gonna flip this. Instead of a function, I'm just gonna bind it to a variable. And then that way I can wrap this entire thing in React.memo. And then I can hold this list item as a variable. Or preserve it, I should say. Pardon. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. And what are we looking at here? 0.1 milliseconds. But we shouldn't see... Oh man, I don't understand what all this is doing. Let's go back to 1. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I wonder why only 7 of them took that amount of time. Let's try again. Yeah, that's cool. None of them had to re-render because nothing changed in here. Loop. So the highlighted index changed. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 1, 2, 3, 10. Whoops. Oh. And then memoize the actual menu. So the menu is a list. Why would the menu re-render? Oh, forgot to do it again. Oh, should probably have recorded that. So it changed from, what was it previously? 1.1. Let's put that back. Quickly refresh. Clear. Record. So it was 0.4 of 0.5, but when I memoize it, clear it. Ooh, that one actually took longer. 0.5. I get the benefit of this, memoizing this. I'm not sure why. I suppose if this re-rendered, is there any way that would re-render and not trigger a re-render of this? I suppose H brought Henderson, right? Yeah. Let's say we have this. We've selected this. If I do this, nothing should change. Right, that's cool. So I'm going to keep this. This is memoized, and I'm going to record I'm going to update this, which will trigger a re-render. Why did the highlighted index change there? Doesn't look like it has. Ah, it's because it changes. Oh, okay. I thought it was the selected index. Got you. That makes sense. So if this changes, then it will trigger a re-render. I suppose that has to. Oh. Let's define a few terms. The render phase, reconciliation, and the commit. Watch this in the video. When you click on the counter button, the count button re-renders, so we can update the count value. So the count button is not memoized. Its parent is reinitializing increment every render. Its parent is reinitializing one change. Oh, there's going to be another thing here. Yeah, so it's reinitializing increment on every render. That makes sense. But memo relies on the same props each call to prevent unnecessary re-renders. It wouldn't work without wrapping this in a use callback. Because this is past the count button. And this will be treated as a new prop every time it comes through. That makes sense. All right, let's try the custom comparator function. Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of what I had uncovered. The highlighted index changes every time we hover over something. This prop changes for all the list item components, but it doesn't mean they all need DOM updates. The only ones that do are the old one and the new one. So we can give React Memo a second argument, which is a custom compare function that allows us to compare the props and return true if rendering the component again is unnecessary. See if you can figure out how to use that function to make it so that changing the highlighted index only re-renders the component that needs to change. Note you do the same for selected item. All right, let's give that a bash. See if we can outcode Kenzie Dodds. Let's do the easy one first, or easier. So React Memo is here, and then that's going to take a callback function, and then we're going to put a comparator function in here. So this gives us, what does it give us? Did you say it gives us props? Compare the props. So I'm guessing this gives us props and previous props. You're not happy about that. Let's take a look. Yep. Ah, it's because there's two equals there. Prettier. Right. Should be back. Should be back. Cool. So we have a debugger, and I could do this by logging, but I really want to get better at the debugger. So we have previous props here. Highlighted index -1, highlighted index -1. Let's play this. Cool. So there we can see it changing. If I now do this, the highlight will disappear. Nice. Okay. Return true if passing next props to render would return the same result as passing previous. Hold up. That sounds like the opposite. Accepts the second argument. Return true if unnecessary. Alright, cool. So this. Return true if all good. I'm guessing I always struggle with referential equality. My gut tells me this will always return. Let's just return this for now. And then let's do so I'm gonna go from -1 to 0. Which would make sense because the previous props should have a highlighted index and -1 and it should now have 1 of 0. And this is now going from 0 to -1. Cool. That makes sense. So, what's the shortcut for this? F8. Cool. So, I'm going to go on to here. Is equal false. I'm going to press F8 to skip through. Is there any way I could trigger... What could I do here? I could put a letter in here. Oh. So I got a letter in here. So I'm going to go from -1 to 0, which is what we want, is equal as false. I'm going to press F8, which is going to take me here. I no longer have focus. Fail. Okay. 0. -1 to 0. F8 to skip, which loses focus. Oh my god, my back is so itchy. Why am I in here? There we go. How can I get this to return true? Okay, let's try, step through. Let's take this out for now. Let's put in Henderson. So this is here. And then I'm going to change this, but nothing in the menu has changed. So if I now re-add the debugger, is that going to blitz this? I don't know how to get this to trigger. Oh, it's because I've got it on the menu. What a douche. Let's put it on the list items. Are equal. There we go. I was wondering, I thought there was... Right, I'm going to take this off of here. Let's go into the console. We've got the debugger here. So it's equal, which would be false. False, false. Don't really fancy doing that 100 times. How about I only... That is equal. Let's go real granular first. If the previous props highlighted index does not equal the next highlighted index. Then run a debugger. Inspect. We're basically going to try and get this to trigger. Okay, so this will only come back if the highlight, if it re-renders. So surely now the Henderson thing would work, right? Oh, shit. Because I'm now going through each of these. Yeah, okay. So these are both the same. So it's re-rendered. But these are identical. Index is 6. Oh, I'm tired. Equals false. Let's just stop this for now. Out of interest. Let's get this up. Let's check the package JSON. Yeah, we've got Lodash. Nice. Alright. So let's check out Lodash is equal. I'm actually just going to end up returning this. Just return like this. I'm just going to bind it to a variable just now. Let's see how we're going with that. And I am falling asleep at the keys tonight. Oh yeah, I should probably restart. Cool. So when I selected that, previous props of that list item and the next props, all of these are going to be true, right? Cool. That makes sense. think I can just do this. Let's just refresh this. Save me pressing that 100 times. Remove the debugger. So let's go into the profiler again. And then I would have thought they wouldn't have re-rendered. The highlighted index changed there. Let's delete that and try that again. Let's just make sure I've got this up to date. I've passed the comparator function to the list item, checking to see if they're equal. If they are equal, then it's unnecessary to re-render. So I want to return, if this returns true, they should ignore it. If I profile this, oh, I did it twice. Let's try and keep this as pure as possible. Yeah, why are all these re-rendering? I can't remember how you slow down your CPU. Seems fine. I'm gonna watch the video on this because I feel like I've got the right answer and I just want to make sure I'm not doing anything silly. So let me fire up the blocker. I'm just gonna watch this. How long's the video? Like that. That's 4 minutes, and that's like 10 minutes. Nice. All right, I'm gonna go off mic for 10 minutes and just watch these videos. Cool. That was pretty interesting stuff. I'm going to... Where are we? Let's close these and then... Oh, I forgot. I'm going to bring the code back up. So I just created a custom comparator function. I'm going to skip this because it seems pretty tricky and even Ken couldn't get it to work. So I'm just going to skip over that. And I'm going to take a 5-minute break because it's 9 o'clock and I'll be back around 5 past. And then I'm going to crack on with the pass only primitive values extra credits. Good times. All right, back in 5. Yeah, let's get rid of that. All right, back. Now let's do some extra credits. Oh. Ah, nice funky tune to come back to as well. All right, pass only primitive values. Wouldn't it be even better to not have to provide a custom memoization comparator function and still get the performance gains? An alternative approach is to pass the pre-computed values for is selected and is highlighted to our list item. That way they are primitive values, and we can take care of React. Oh god, I'm falling asleep. They can take advantage of React's built-in comparison function and remove errors altogether. Okay. So the list item currently passes a selected item and a highlighted index. We want to abstract this, or we want to lift it higher. So what menu calls list item? That's cool. I can just say it is selected. It's highlighted. So I've got the selected item here. I've got the item here. So I can actually just make that comparison in here. Should be able to get rid of that. Pass that through as props. Which means that I don't know why my ESLint isn't working. It's weird. I don't think this is being used anymore. Nope. So I shouldn't need to pass these through anymore. Which means I shouldn't need to memoize it. Or should I still memoize it? We still need to memoize it, but I don't need to pass the comparator function through to it. Should we test the 3 of them? Let's open this out. Hey, who do we have? Hey, not just Jack. We are doing performance optimizations. So it's the EpicReact.Dev course, and we're on the performance module. So we're currently looking at ways to reduce the number of unnecessary re-renders that are on the page. If I have this fully open, I hope this works, and then you'll get to see the final solution, which means it probably won't work. Let's do it. If I go to performance here, I'm just going to turn on a 6x slowdown just to exaggerate what's going to appear here. And then this currently is memoized with a comparator function. So if I start profiling that, force a re-render, and then come off of it, none of these will re-render, which is cool. If I now remove that comparator function, it should give me the same result because I've now passed these through as props. So instead of making the calculation inside the list item and then checking the comparator function to see if those values have changed, I've just lifted it out into the menu and I pass it through as a prop. So when React compares the previous list item to the next one, all it's doing is checking a Boolean value here, which is cool. So this should give me the same result. So I'm going to profile, force a re-render, and stop. Which is cool. And then I'm going to actually remove the memoization. Not that one. This one. Let's put that back to normal. Refresh it. And then wait for that to sort itself out. Let's clear it. Profiling is not supported. There we go. So start profile, force a re-render, and stop. So we can see all of these list items are re-rendering. So to prevent that from happening, we're going to memoize the function. We previously put in a comparator function to just check if they're equal, but we don't need to do that because we have hoisted these values out into the props. And they are now primitive values. That's awesome. Cool. Yes, I have. If you should really bind this to a command, and then I don't need to do it every time. Ah. All right. I've actually recorded everything up until this point. Can I actually tag you? There we go. No, just cool. So I've recorded everything up until this point. So it starts from the first module and works all the way through. So feel free to check them out. No worries, man. What's Toby? Is it Toby? Tauby? Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation. List item is not re-rendering anymore if selected item or highlighted index remain unchanged. Yeah, correct. Oh, dude, mine's a fun crane. I wouldn't worry about it. To answer your question, you are correct. That's no longer re-rendering because we're now passing these through as props, right? So because we make this comparison here, this will resolve to a Boolean value. So when this list item re-renders, it will only re-render if one of these has changed because we're now memoizing it. We don't even need this comparator function. Let's get rid of that. Because the memoization is only going to re-render if any of these props change. So we don't need to do a comparison on this every time. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's cool, right? How have I found the course so far? I love it. I love even the fundamentals. It was actually kind of, I was probably more nervous on the fundamentals because I've been doing it for like 5-6 years now, so I should probably be better at it than what I was. But that's kind of the fun of it, right? You're trying to plug the gaps in your knowledge. So it's all been fun. All the examples are good fun to get stuck into. There's plenty of like tips and things in the code, loads of comments and things to help you out, so you're not really going to get stuck. So it keeps you on track, but it gives you enough breathing space that you can actually implement your own version of it. It's very good. Nice. That finishes that one. What time are we on? 1:15? Yeah, plenty of time. All right, exercise 4. Hey, I've already taken my break, so let's get past that. All right, what have we got? Yep, this is only a 2-minute video. I'm just going to be off mic while I watch this video. You need to buy the course if you want to watch the content. All right, this one looks fun. Put this down. Let's go in. Ah, nice, Tawi. Thank you for the follow. It's always appreciated. Okay, window large lists. Virtualized lists have always terrified me. I've managed to avoid it for most of my career so far. We're going to use a library called React Virtual. Some of you may use this before. Implementing this is non-trivial, right? There's not much React can do if you simply need to make huge updates to the DOM. As fast as React is, it has to do that for tens of thousands. It's going to take some time. Let's say you have a grid of data that rendered 100 columns and had 5,000 rows. Do you need to render all 500,000 cells for the user all at once? No. You only display a window of 10 columns by 20 rows, and the rest you can delay rendering. That makes sense? It's a concept called windowing, and in some cases it can really speed up your components that render lots of data. There are various libraries that solve this. Here's an example of how you would adapt a list to use the use virtual hook. So previously, we have an unordered list, we map over it, and we return all the list items. Fine for 10 items, not so great for 10,000. Virtualized list is going to define a ref. We've got this use virtual hook, which I don't know what that does. I assume that's going to be the magic of this. We're going to attach a ref to the list. We define a list item, an empty list item which has a height, the total size. I assume because these are going to be absolutely positioned. Yeah, cool. So they're all absolutely positioned to the top left, and then they are transformed based off of the start. Virtualizer, virtual items. So we pass an options object to use virtual, which is going to return virtual items to us. We map over them and then return them. You tell use virtual how many rows are in your list. Give it a callback that it can use to determine which size they should be, and then it will give you back virtual items and a total size, which you can then use to only render the items the user should be able to see within the window. Okay. The product manager noticed we're only rendering the top 100 matches, and they're frustrated because they like scrolling for eternity. We tried to explain to them about this, but they just smiled, gave us a high five, and said, "You're smart." So in this exercise, we've removed the slice, and now we're rendering all the items. Even without throttling your CPU, you should notice a serious performance problem here. Yeah, because it's now rendering everything right. Go ahead and try to do some profiling, but I think you know what you need to do. You need to window this stuff, run less code, and speed up your component. Alright, let's see what the code says. So is this exercise 4? Yeah, so let's close this off. And let's go to exercise 4. Alright, that seems very straightforward. So let's first bring this hook in. So we shouldn't need this dude anymore. I made this for you, you'll need it later. Alright. Softly kind. And then we need to accept list ref, virtual rows, and total height. So let's just make sure the menu, wherever we're calling menu, yeah, so just need to make sure we're passing these as well. Let's get rid of that. that me? Is that? Nice. All right. Okay, so list ref is not defined. Create a list ref with React.useRef, which will be used for the parent ref option you pass to use virtual. So, I mean, let's just create this to begin with. We're going to create a list ref and use React. Use ref, and let's default it's a null. It should be applied to the parent of our menu. So we've got the so we're passing a list ref through here, and then our menu. Are we going to need to forward the ref? No. We're going to pass this ref to the get menu props. It's now done. Add a list item, an inline style, set the height, the total height. I imagine we're going to need total height in pixels. This is to ensure that the scrollable area is the same height it would be if we were actually rendering everything. This is to ensure that the scrollable area of the UL is the same height it would be if we were actually rendering everything. Instead of mapping the items, we're going to map over the virtual rows. So swap items with virtual rows. Virtual row is an object with the following properties. An index. You can use this to get the item via items index. Virtual row is an object, so we're mapping over these. Items index. If the virtual row is an object, does that not mean that the index would be attached to item as opposed to... Let's just use this for now. So we've got items. We're going to pass index here. We're going to pass a style prop here. We're going to spread get virtual row styles, assuming that returns an object. And then we're going to pass an object to that. We're going to pass the height, and then we can use set the height style to this value. Maybe this will just return an object. Make sure to pass an object with the size and start, where the row starts relative to the scroll top of its container. That's a style prop. Get the inline styles from get virtual row styles. Let's actually just see what that gives us back. That's actually going to return an object here. So we actually just need to pass, cool. So we don't need to do anything with it. We just need to pass the two values through, and then this will give us the height, and then it's automatically calculated the transform for us. So I can actually just pass through item.size, item.start. Take style here, and then spread style in here. Created the ref, which will be used for the parent ref option you pass to this, and should be applied to this for the menu. Okay. Call use virtual with the following configuration options. So we want size, we want parent ref, estimate. Oh, wait. This was. Oh, no. Okay, so we're now using this, but we're actually going to have to declare this ourselves. So we've got an estimate size. Scan. You can set the return value of this call to row virtualizer. Const that explains why my browser is currently erroring, because now we're going to bind that. This is going to freak because these haven't been set. So the size, the number of items. So we're going to call use async here, which is going to return data, which we're going to alias to items. Assuming that'll just be items.length. Parent ref will be list ref. Estimate size. It returns the size for each item. And in our case, every item has the same size, so this will do. We're going to use a callback that is never called again. I'm going to set the height to 20. Cool. Overscan, the number of additional rows to render outside of the scrollable view. You can play around with the number, but you probably don't need more than 10. Cool. So this should work. Yep. Okay, so something's not right. I want to override this because reaction. Let's scroll into views and no up. So we can actually just get rid of this. We want to override the scroll into view functionality because React Virtual will handle scrolling for us. Cool. When the highlighted index changes, then tell React Virtual to scroll to that index. We have a highlighted index. If it exists, then scroll to it. Let's take a look at the final. Let's open this. Let's start debugging. Each child in a list should have a unique key prop. Okay. Handy trick, you can console log here and do an OR, because this will always evaluate to falsy. So this will be falsy and it'll always return what you actually want. So that's a cheeky little way. We can just start taking a look at item. That's a lot of items. Okay, so it gives us an index. Yes, yeah, I think I want to use this one. Actually, just want to. I find it easier to have the plural for the array and then the singular for here. So let's console log each virtual row. The key is going to be. This actually doesn't have an ID. That's probably why it's freaking out. I assume the start is going to be 460, 480, 440. Yeah, so I think we can actually use the start value as a key. Each list item. Just pass that as the index. Is selected. That should be fine. Okay, so the cells are there. Got this, a virtual row is an object with the following properties: index, size, and start. Index, size, and start. can use this to get the item. Yeah, items. The item, if I say it's items, virtual row dot index. Just gonna. Am I still on slowdown here? No, cool. Okay, let's expand this a little bit. I'm going to turn this into an actual function, which means I can actually just log this as normal, and then let's return the list item, and it should just need this. It's just prettier to tidy that up. And then we're going to say const item is equal to this items. That should give me the item. Oop. If I make this item.name, then this should start appearing. That's good to see. The index, I think I can just set to the index of this. The actual item, I can just call item here. Yep. Nice. That's cool. There's a lot to digest there. I'm just gonna do this. I think I have everything here. Definitely do not want to do that. So set the key. We set the styles here. It's fine. We pass the ref through to the list item. The one thing I wanted to try was messing around with this overscan. So this should only show one item. So I should see more of... I thought there would be more of a drag there. Oh, performance. Let's throttle. Oop. Alright, cool. Let's put the byte to like 10. This should be... Nice. that is going to take some time to actually sit and digest that, what that's actually doing. We have a menu here. The menu is taking three things. We're taking a list ref that we're going to attach to the parent. We're going to pass our virtual rows instead of items. Passing virtual rows and our items. So the row virtualizer, this bad boy. Each of them are the same size. Okay, I'm too tired to sit and actually break that down tonight. But one thing I am going to quickly do, since I've got 10 minutes left. Atlassian is at the top when you search for GitHub. Hate it. Actually. Exercise will be on there 4. Source exercise. Let's just quickly edit this so that when you uncomment this, not sure if this was intentional, but maybe it'll help. What did I do? Updated. Commented out. Excellent. That way, when you uncomment them, it should just work. Man, I never know what to write in these messages. Normally I would just do this in my own commit messages. Get it out. Appropriate syntax. Spend longer on the actual commit message than I have on the actual fix. updated the disabled menu props to the appropriate index. See what the contributing guidelines say. Shouldn't need to test anything. Should be good here. Code of conduct should be fine. Making the big changes. Nice. 8 minutes left. That seems like a good place to leave it in all honesty, which is nice because there's no extra credits on this one. And I'm basically going to spend either my coffee break tomorrow or maybe I'll go back over this on Thursday with some fresh eyes. But my brain is completely fried. So I'm glad I got it working. It's nice to see a virtualized list working. Ooh, is it working? It is not. Well, haha, something's not working. Oh well, okay. Then I'll let me see. I've got a couple of minutes. Let's just make sure. I'm guessing that. Yeah. I think it is the highlighted index. So we've got the virtual rows here. Does this equal item.index? Nope. Let's just quickly check. What is the total height of this? Total height has been applied to the first. Yeah, that's cool. We've got the items. We have an ID on there, so we can check if it's selected. If the selected item equals item ID, this doesn't have an index, so it's got to be the virtual row to see if it's highlighted. And the size and the start have to come from the virtual row 2. Display the item name. Is it this one that's incorrect? Hey, there we go. Nice. Love a last second fix. Wonderful. Nice. That's a good place to leave it then. I'm glad I fixed that before I finished up for the evening. Cool. So we cracked on with the performance. Exercises 2, 3, and 4 tonight. What did we do to begin with? We started with memos for expensive calculations. That was cool. And then working out the comparator functions, and I always forget the name of it. We had the web worker. We had our comparator function. Then we looked at primitive values to eliminate the need for this. And then we rendered a 10,000 list virtually. All right, what's next? I'm going to start on Thursday with the optimized context value. But for now, I'm absolutely knackered and it's 10 o'clock, so I'm going to leave it there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on Thursday.